The relentless Atlanta rain mirrored the storm brewing inside Elijah Vance. As he navigated the bustling streets, every step a desperate plea to make it to the most pivotal interview of his life. But then, a desperate cry pierced the downpour. A woman, trapped and terrified, made him pause. A choice, born of instinct, would shatter his meticulously planned future, costing him the interview, the opportunity, everything. He walked home, drenched and defeated, unaware of the profound truth. The woman he had selflessly aided was Srafina Dubois, the visionary CEO of Viridian Creative Group, the very company he yearned to join. And what she would do next would send ripples of change through the entire city, a testament to character forged in the crucible of adversity. The heavens wept over Atlanta. It was the kind of deluge that forced people into hurried, head-down scurries, each person an island in a sea of rushing water, oblivious to the world around them. On Peachtree Street, Elijah clutched his worn umbrella, a flimsy shield against the onslaught, desperately trying to protect the tattered edges of his portfolio. His suit, his only good suit, was already clinging to him, the wind a cruel accomplice, driving icy needles of rain beneath his meager defense. Yet, a fragile ember of hope flickered within his chest. This interview was more than a job, it was a lifeline. After years spent toiling in the shadows of freelance graphic design, barely stitching together enough to keep a roof over his head, this was his chance. A chance to step into the light at Viridian Creative Group, one of the most prestigious agencies in the South, a beacon of innovation and opportunity. He didn't just need the money, he craved stability, a fresh start, a foundation upon which he could finally build something worthy of pride. Arrive early, stay calm, speak clearly, he whispered to himself, the words a familiar mantra, the echoes of his late father's wisdom guiding his every breath. His father, a man of humble means but immeasurable spirit, had lived by a simple creed: kindness. Always, no matter the cost, no matter the circumstance. Those profound lessons, etched deep into Elijah's soul, had been his unwavering compass through every trial and tribulation life had thrown his way. As Elijah neared the gleaming, glass-clad tower that bore the Viridian name, a monument to ambition and success, he checked his watch. He was on time, perhaps even a few precious minutes early, precisely as he had meticulously planned. A small victory in the face of the storm. But then a sound, faint yet piercing, cut through the cacophony of rain and blaring horns, a voice trembling with raw fear. Please, someone, help me, please. Elijah's head snapped up. In the heart of the intersection, a sleek, black luxury sedan sat paralyzed, its hazard lights flashing a frantic, silent plea. Around it, a symphony of angry honks erupted, drivers leaning out of their windows, their faces contorted in frustration, their shouts a chorus of impatience. Some screamed for the driver to move, others cursed the delay. Inside, Elijah saw her, a woman in a sharp business suit, her hair plastered to her face, her hands shaking uncontrollably as she desperately tried to restart the engine. Her face was a mask of terror, stress, and utter confusion. She fumbled with her phone, trying to call for help, but with each failed attempt, her desperation deepened. Elijah froze. His interview, the culmination of years of struggle, was mere minutes away. His clothes were soaked, his portfolio already damp. To help her now would mean certain lateness, a fatal blow to his chances. He knew the brutal cost of a single misstep in this unforgiving world. Yet, a voice, clear as a bell, resonated in his mind, his father's voice, the same gentle yet firm guidance he had grown up with. Son, if someone needs help, you help, even if the world around you is too busy to care. Elijah, with a deep, resolute breath, closed his umbrella. He stepped out into the raging storm, walking purposefully to the passenger side. He tapped gently on the window. "Mum, are you all right? Do you need assistance?" he asked, his voice steady despite the chaos. The woman turned, her eyes wide with a sudden, overwhelming wave of relief. She quickly rolled down the window. "Yes, please, my car just stopped, and I have a critical meeting. I don't know what to do," she pleaded, her voice cracking. "Let me take a look under the hood," Elijah offered gently, his gaze calm and reassuring. "Sometimes, it's just something small." The rain hammered down on him as he lifted the heavy hood, steam hissing into the cold air. He methodically checked the battery terminals, the cables, listening intently as she tried the ignition again. Water streamed down his back, his clothes clinging to his skin, the cold seeping into his very bones, but he pressed on undeterred. He ignored the furious glares and angry shouts of the drivers trapped behind them, his focus absolute on the intricate network of wires and hoses. "Try it now," he yelled over the storm. The engine coughed, sputtered once, then roared to life, a triumphant symphony against the rain. The woman gasped, covering her mouth with both hands, her eyes shining with tears of pure, unadulterated relief. "Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much," she exclaimed, her voice choked with emotion. "How can I ever repay you? What do you want? I can pay you." Elijah glanced at his watch. He was soaked, covered in grease, and irrevocably late. "Just help someone else, one day," he said softly, a faint smile touching his lips. "That will be more than enough for me." She blinked, genuinely surprised by his profound kindness. "You saved me today. Thank you, more than you could possibly know," she said, before driving off, offering a final, grateful wave. Elijah stood alone in the downpour, breathing heavily, the adrenaline slowly receding. His suit was ruined, his tie a sodden mess, his portfolio a pulpy disaster. He looked nothing like a candidate for a prestigious corporate interview. Yet, with a quiet resolve, he still walked into the gleaming lobby of Viridian Tower. He had nothing left to lose. The impeccably dressed receptionist looked at him, her expression a mixture of surprise and polite disdain. "I'm here for a 9 o'clock interview with Serafina Dubois," he stated, wiping rain from his face. "I apologize for my appearance. There was an emergency." The receptionist's voice was slow, almost pitying. "Sir, Ms. Dubois canceled all interviews today. Something urgent came up. You will be contacted to reschedule." Elijah stood motionless, the last vestiges of hope draining from him like the rain from his clothes. He had sacrificed everything, his one chance, to help a stranger, and now it was gone. But instead of anger, a strange, profound calm settled over his heart. He had done the right thing, even if no one would ever know, even if no one would ever reward him for it. He turned and walked back out into the relentless rain. At least someone made it to their meeting today, he whispered to himself, a quiet, dignified acceptance in his voice. Later that night, Elijah sat in his small apartment in West End, the cheap takeout meal a stark contrast to the dreams he had chased. He stared at his wrinkled, water-damaged papers. His friend, Jamal, tried to lift his spirits, but Elijah just offered a weary smile and shook his head. His mind kept replaying the encounter with the woman in the car. Her voice, her overwhelming relief, the way her face had lit up when the engine roared to life. There was something strangely familiar about her, a connection he couldn't quite place. He didn't know her name. He didn't know she was Serafina Dubois, the formidable CEO of the very company he had hoped to join. He didn't know that because of his selfless act, she had reached her critical meeting on time. And he certainly didn't know that this single, compassionate choice, made in the heart of a storm, was about to irrevocably change the entire trajectory of his life. 3 days, 3 sun-drenched days since the downpour, but for Elias Vance, the storm hadn't passed. Each dawn brought a fresh wave of hope, quickly dashed by an empty inbox. No word from Ascension Creative Group. The interview, the one he sacrificed everything for, was gone. He clung to freelance scraps in his cramped Harlem studio, the hum of his old laptop a constant reminder of dreams deferred, barely enough to keep the lights on. On Thursday morning, the door to his apartment burst open, revealing Jamal, his best friend, balancing to steaming cups of cheap coffee. Jamal dropped his worn backpack onto the ancient sofa. "Man, you look like you've been fighting ghosts," he said, handing Elias a cup. "I'm all right," Elias mumbled, but the dark circles under his eyes screamed a different story. "You're not all right, you're stressed. And for what? For helping some stranger who left you standing in the rain, soaked to the bone. Missing your shot." Jamal shook his head. Elias managed a weak smile. "I didn't help her for a reward, Jamal. She needed help. I just did what was right." "That's your problem, Elias. You're too good. Good doesn't pay rent." Elias didn't argue. Deep down, he knew he'd do it again. His father, a man of quiet strength, had taught him that character was a fortune no money could buy, and that extending a hand in trouble was never a waste. That evening, his mother, Angela, called from Queens. Her weekly check-ins were a lifeline. "Elias, honey, are you eating? Sleeping enough? How's work?" "Me, yo. It's going, Mom," he said softly, the light tasting bitter. "Going is not an answer, son. Talk to me." "I'm just waiting for a reply, Mom. Trying to get something steady." "I'll pray on it," she said, her voice unwavering. "God sees the good you do. It will come back to you." After the call, Elias sat at his desk, sketching a logo for a small diner. As he adjusted colors and shapes, his mind drifted back to the woman in the rain. He'd helped countless people, but something about her voice, her raw vulnerability, lingered. He didn't even know her name, yet her face was etched into his memory. To clear his head, he decided to work outdoors the next day. Manhattan's vibrant chaos often sparked his creativity. On Friday afternoon, Elias found a quiet corner in Bryant Park. He set up his laptop, pulled out his sketchbook, and lost himself in a new design. The sun warmed his skin. A gentle breeze whispered through the trees, and for the first time all week, a fragile peace settled over him. He was bent over a detailed sketch when a voice, crisp and familiar, cut through the park's gentle hum. "Excuse me, do you know if there's a good coffee shop nearby? I have a meeting soon and could really use a cup." Elias looked up, and his world tilted. It was her, Serafina Dubois. She stood before him, impeccably dressed in a navy power suit, her hair pulled back, a picture of elegant urgency. Her phone was clutched in one hand, a leather notebook in the other. "Wait," she said, her eyes widening in recognition. You're the man from that day. The man who helped me with my car." Elias stood, a jolt of disbelief running through him. "Yes, it's me. I'm glad you made it where you needed to go." A radiant smile lit her face, sending a warmth through his chest. "I can't believe this. I've been wanting to thank you properly. You saved me that morning. That meeting was critical. There's a great coffee shop 2 blocks down." Elias offered, "I can show you." "Actually," Serafina said softly, her gaze steady, "would you care to join me? It's the least I can do." Elias hesitated. His worn jeans and faded t-shirt felt out of place. His wallet was thin. But he met her eyes and nodded. "Sure, I'd like that." Inside the bustling coffee shop, they sat across from each other. She ordered a complex latte, he a simple black coffee. "I never got your name," she said. "Elias Vance," he replied. "And you?" "Serafina," she answered, a hint of a smile. "Just Serafina." They talked for almost an hour. Serafina asked about his design work, and Elias, usually reserved, found himself passionately explaining how he loved transforming abstract ideas into tangible visuals. She listened intently, not feigning interest, not rushing him. She asked about his process, his inspirations, his struggles. "What made you help me that day?" she asked quietly, her eyes searching his. "Because you needed help," Elias replied, his voice firm. "It didn't matter who you were or where you were going. You looked scared. I'd want someone to help my mother or my sister if they were stuck like that." Serafina looked at him with profound respect. "You have a good heart, Elias. Not many people would sacrifice their own plans for a complete stranger." Her words resonated deep within him. He was used to being overlooked, judged, or dismissed, especially in professional circles. But Serafina spoke to him as if he were someone truly important. When she checked her watch, realizing she had to leave, she gave him a grateful, lingering smile. "I hope we meet again, Elias. I truly enjoyed our conversation." Elias watched her walk away, a feeling he couldn't quite name blooming in his chest. Her presence lingered long after she vanished into the city's pulse. The next week, Elias returned to his routine. Money was still tight, bills still piled up, clients were still scarce, yet something inside him had irrevocably shifted. He found himself thinking of Serafina more than he cared to admit. Her kindness, her voice, the way she had truly listened, the way she looked at him as if he mattered. One afternoon, working at a small cafe in Harlem, a voice, sharp and unmistakable, cut through the cafe's gentle hum. "Excuse me, I absolutely need this order corrected. My meeting is in minutes." A familiar voice, edged with a tremor of frustration, cut through the city's din. Elijah Vance looked up. It was Dr. Vivian Holloway. Her usually composed demeanor was frayed, several heavy bags at her feet, a broken heel on her designer shoe. The indifferent delivery driver had just shrugged and walked away, leaving her stranded. "Dr. Holloway," Elijah called out, striding towards her. "Is everything all right?" she exhaled, a wave of relief washing over her. "Elijah, thank goodness. My car broke down, and I have a critical board meeting in less than an hour. I can't get a cab, and my phone's dead." "I can help you get there," Elijah offered, his gaze scanning the busy street. "It's a few blocks, but we can make it." "Would you really?" she asked, her eyes softening. "I'll compensate you, of course." "No need for that," he said, a gentle smile. "Just point the way." He quickly hailed a passing shared-ride van, using his last $20 to ensure she got there on time. She arrived just as the meeting began, breathless but grateful. Later, she sent him a text, "You're unbelievable. You've helped me twice now." Elijah simply replied, "Hardworking people deserve a little help sometimes." As she prepared for her presentation, she remembered his quiet strength, his unwavering dignity. She had noticed his worn backpack, the careful way he spoke. "This presentation," she thought, "could shape the next few years of my foundation." She carried the weight of it, the immense responsibility to uplift communities. But Elijah hadn't asked questions. He had simply acted. He respected her space, her urgency. When she finally left the meeting, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you," she texted again. "You always appear when I need it most." Elijah smiled at his phone. "Good luck out there, Dr. Holloway." That night, Elijah ate instant noodles, stretching his meager funds until his next paycheck. He wondered why someone as elegant, confident, and impactful as Dr. Holloway kept crossing paths with someone like him, a young artist from Northwood, battling his own unseen struggles. He didn't know that fate was weaving a tapestry far grander than either of them imagined. And he didn't know that Dr. Holloway carried a truth, a secret that would soon ignite his world and challenge the very foundations of their city. Chapter 3. 2 weeks after Elijah's timely intervention, he found himself thinking about Dr. Holloway more than he should. He told himself it was just curiosity, just admiration for her drive, a natural human reaction to a woman who carried herself with such grace and purpose. But deep in his heart, he knew it was more. Something about her presence made him feel seen, not just as a young black man from Northwood, but as an individual. Something about her voice resonated with a quiet power, and the way she listened made him feel truly valued, a feeling that had been scarce in his life. Every day, as he worked on his digital art projects in different community centers or libraries across the city, Elijah wondered if he would run into her again. He knew it was improbable. The city was vast, a labyrinth of millions, and the chances of encountering the same person 3 times were astronomically low. Yet he found himself glancing up whenever a door opened, whenever he heard a voice that carried a hint of her distinctive cadence. One Saturday morning, Elijah made his way to the Beacon Arts and Tech Hub, a vibrant sanctuary in the heart of Northwood. Volunteering there every weekend, teaching teenagers advanced digital design and storytelling, gave him a profound joy that money could never buy. He loved witnessing the spark in their eyes as they learned to craft powerful visual narratives, giving voice to their experiences. He loved guiding them toward futures they never dared to dream of. That day, he sat beside Nia, a brilliant 16-year-old, meticulously designing a digital mural for a community justice campaign. "Make the message undeniable, Nia," Elijah said gently. "People scroll fast. Your art needs to stop them, make them feel." Nia nodded, her focus intense. "Like this, Mr. Vance?" "Exactly," Elijah smiled, a surge of pride. "You're not just learning skills. You're building a movement." As Elijah moved amongst the students, he didn't notice a figure standing quietly at the doorway, watching him with an expression of profound awe. It was Dr. Vivian Holloway, She had arrived for a meeting with the Beacon's advisory board, a board she chaired, a commitment she kept private. She was stunned to see Elijah there, moving between students with such kindness, such patience, such unwavering dedication. When the class concluded and the students began packing their laptops, Dr. Holloway finally stepped forward. "Elijah," she said softly, "I had no idea you volunteered here." He turned, surprised but genuinely pleased to see her. "Dr. Holloway, you're here too?" "I'm on the advisory committee for the Beacon," she explained. "I'm often here, just not on weekends. I certainly didn't expect to find you teaching." Elijah rubbed the back of his neck, a hint of shyness. "It's just something I believe in. These kids need someone to see their potential, to believe in their power. A little guidance can change everything." Dr. Holloway looked around at the vibrant digital art projected on the walls, the students' designs pinned to boards, the hum of creativity. "What you're doing here is extraordinary," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You're helping them find their voice, their agency. That's rare, Elijah." He shrugged slightly. "I just want them to have the chances I never had, the opportunities to break through, and you're giving them exactly that," she replied. They walked together to a small, sunlit lounge within the Beacon. Elijah made them both a cup of herbal tea from the dispenser, and they sat at a round table near a window overlooking the bustling Northwood Street. "Elijah," she began gently, "your spirit is truly special. You care about people, about justice, in a way many don't." "I just try to do what's right," he replied, his gaze steady. "Not everyone does what's right," she said, her voice dropping, "even when they know they should. Especially when it's hard." For a moment, their eyes met, and Elijah felt a powerful, almost frightening connection. He looked away quickly, a stark reminder that they moved into profoundly different worlds, separated by more than just geography. To break the silence, he asked, "What about you, Dr. Holloway? What brought you to the Beacon?" "My family. We didn't always have much," she said, her gaze distant. "I learned early that community matters, that empowering young people matters. I wanted to give back in a real, impactful way, to dismantle the systemic barriers I saw." Elijah listened intently. "I never would have guessed," he said, genuinely surprised. "I don't talk about it much," she replied, a shadow crossing her face. "But there's more to it, Elijah. A truth I've carried, a mission that's about to unfold, and I believe you're meant to be a part of it." The city lights began to twinkle outside, casting long shadows. Elijah felt a tremor of anticipation, a sense that his quiet life was about to be irrevocably changed. He knew, in that moment, that their paths had converged for a reason far greater than chance. "In my world," Serafina replied, her voice a low hum, "they only see the climb, the crown, never the roots or the struggle." Elijah nodded, a silent understanding passing between them. He knew that relentless pressure. As the afternoon bled into evening, they spoke of hidden dreams, whispered fears, and the echoes of childhood. Elijah found himself unraveling, sharing parts of his soul he hadn't touched in years. Serafina listened, her presence a rare, quiet sanctuary. Her calm, unwavering gaze made him feel seen, truly safe. Before she left, her fingers brushed his, a spark in the fading light. "Elijah," she murmured, "I hope you know, deep down, you deserve every good thing that finds its way to you." Her words, soft as a prayer, resonated in the hollows of his heart. Later that night, after another meager meal, and the quiet hum of his design software, a phone call shattered the stillness, making Elijah sit bolt upright in his worn bed. "Hello, is this Elijah Vance?" A crisp, professional voice. "Yes," he managed. "This is DuBois Creative Group. We'd like to schedule a follow-up interview." Elijah's hand trembled, nearly dropping the phone. You want to interview me?" He stammered, disbelief thick in his throat. "Indeed. Ms. DuBois was profoundly impressed with your portfolio and personally requested we reach out." Ms. DuBois, the owner of the empire, the woman he'd sheltered from the storm. His pulse hammered against his ribs, but he forced a calm into his voice. "Of course, I'm available," he said. "Any day, any time." The line went dead, but Elijah remained frozen, his mind a whirlwind. Serafina DuBois, her full name, He'd seen it, emblazoned across the towering skylines of Viridian City, whispered in hushed tones in business journals. A legend among the city's elite, she was one of the most revered CEOs, a force of nature in a world designed to break them. And he had helped her in the street, unknowingly, bought her lunch unknowingly, talked to her for hours unknowingly. A maelstrom of shock, confusion, gratitude, fear, and a fragile hope surged within him. 2 days later, Elijah stood once more inside the gleaming Du Bois Tower. This time, he was dry, impeccably dressed, every fiber of his being prepared. He followed the receptionist to a conference room. High on the 10th floor, she opened the door, a silent invitation. Elijah sat, adjusting his tie, his hands clammy. His heart refused to quiet. Then, the door swung open again. Serafina walked in, a vision in a cream-colored suit, a folder bearing his name clutched in her hand. For a long moment, she simply stood, her soft eyes holding his gaze. "Elijah," she said, her voice a gentle caress. He rose quickly. "Serafina. I mean, Ms. Du Bois," he corrected, a flush rising to his cheeks. She smiled, a genuine, warm smile. "No, Serafina is fine." He swallowed hard. "You're the CEO." "Yes," she confirmed. "I wanted to tell you sooner, but I didn't know how." Elijah sank back into his chair, the weight of revelation heavy on his shoulders. "Why didn't you say anything?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Because the first time we met," she began, her eyes unwavering, "you helped me without knowing who I was. You didn't see money or power. You saw a woman who needed help. I needed that reminder." She sat across from him, her hands clasped. "And the truth is, Elijah, I asked my team to call you because I owe you this. Your interview. You lost your chance helping me." He shook his head. "I didn't do it for anything in return." "I know," she said softly. "That's why it means so much." She took a deep, steadying breath, her eyes filled with a raw honesty. "Elijah, there's something else. Over these last few weeks, I've grown to care about you in a way I can't ignore. I can't pretend I don't feel something. I know we come from different worlds. I know people will talk. I know it's risky. But I can't lie to myself." Elijah felt the air leave the room, the world outside fading to a distant hum. "I care about you too," he said, his voice quiet but firm. They sat in a profound silence, the unspoken weight of their shared truth settling between them. A son of the forgotten streets, a titan of the glass towers, two worlds colliding, finding common ground. Serafina leaned forward, her gaze intense. "Our lives are about to get complicated, Elijah. People judge what they don't understand. But I need to know, are you willing to try?" Elijah looked into her eyes, and in their depths, he saw something real, something profound, something worth fighting for. He nodded slowly. "Yes, I want to try." Moments later, their hands met across the polished table, fingers intertwining. A silent promise. Outside the conference room, the relentless rhythm of Viridian City pulsed, a symphony of noise and ambition. But inside, Elijah Vance and Serafina Du Bois took their first step towards something neither had anticipated. Something powerful, something dangerous, something breathtakingly beautiful. A story that would test their hearts, their courage, and everything they believed. But for now, they sat together, choosing each other in a world that desperately wanted them apart.